Welcome to all sins and commandments alike. This is Griever, your guys' host as always, bringing you guys the latest episode review of Wrath of the Gods. Okay, this episode was a little better. We had a few more moments, and actually the animation was, once again, it's getting more passable. I feel like this is where the animation department finally realized they had enough time and money left, because I'm assuming this is about 20 to 24 episode season, a standard show. So I'm going to go on that limb here and say that this is where they realized they had a little more time and a little more budget to throw at the season before it was all wrapped up. A budget is something that people want to spend. You don't want to go under budget too far. You don't want to go over budget at all. And you want to try to keep it close to that number. So I feel like maybe they had a little more time because some of the moments here did look pretty good. Nothing fantastic, but all right? So, the end of the last episode, the 7 Deadly Sins are done. They are over. They are disbanded. Meliodas went evil and is peacing out. So, okay. We have basically, I'm going to say 3 sections to this episode. 3. And out of those 3, one's kind of a two-parter, or 2 is kind of a one thing, right? We follow the Sins and their quest for how they're going to do anything at this point, and we also follow Meliodas and Elizabeth and Chandler on their way back to meeting Zeldris and Cusack. So the first part, which I think is, let's just talk about one part V1, right? Let's talk about the purgatory stuff. Bond is the one going to purgatory. That pretty much sums it up. Somehow, and this is never really explained, I feel like that's not spoiler-esque. This is never really explained why specifically Hawk is a seeing eye glass. Not only that, but is a gateway to purgatory. That is never fully fleshed out or explained as to why. Even if it was something like, even if it was a bad explanation, we never even got an explanation. It was just like, you seem to be able to do this. I could be wrong. We could have had a throwaway line. It's a 340 chapter series still running, so I might have missed that one line and I'm forgetting it, but I don't think we ever did get a full-on, here is why Hawk had the connection to purgatory. The Demon King was able to utilize it without Hawk knowing. I don't think we ever got that fully, laid out A, B, C, D, right? So that's kind of weird. But suffice it to say is that that's a little spoilery, but not too bad. We just don't know. Either way, Hawk is the connection to purgatory. So Bond ends up going to purgatory because Merlin goes on a whole thing, a little bit of an extension of the manga once again. Not bad to see, but it was kind of unnecessary. She basically explains what purgatory is, and how her father, a great capital mage, a great mage of power, went into purgatory for 1 minute, but 1 minute was 1 year and all that stuff, and he came back a broken shell of a man who was basically disabled, mentally challenged, basically went crazy, and just rambled on about purgatory, it was pretty gross, right? Gray hair. When he left, he was in his 40s. When he came back, he was like a man in his 80s who was crippled and that kind of shit. So, and he died shortly thereafter. So purgatory kicks your ass. It's the hottest it can be while it's being the coldest it can be. The air is toxic. The pressure is great. The weather patterns just change on a dime. It's basically the Grand Line and stuff on steroids from One Piece, right? It's the worst. It's never easy. Put it to you that way. It's never easy. And there's constantly souls and these creatures of purgatory always devouring one another and sensing out and trapping you, and the isolation of it all, and I guess it's just Merlin goes on this whole explanation, right? And we get more information as Bond is the one going there. We'll get more from Bond's perspective later on, and I believe his perspective will shed some better light on what purgatory is truly like. But that's the bare bones is what we get, is that this is like the extreme I guess, training grounds. It's the extreme hell. It's the extreme of anything. It's like, think of the hottest volcano and the worst ice age and the most, like, Naraku from Inuyasha, miasma level 1000, over 9,000, mixed with just everything, right? It's just a terrible clusterfuck of terribleness. And Bond decides to go there. The whole reason Bond decides is because the explanation is that the Demon King is the one zapping every single time Meliodas dies. The Demon King takes emotions with him, strips Meliodas of a fair amount of his emotions. Now, Meliodas hasn't died very often, but he's died enough to this point, and that's why he's basically void of it right now. So they're like, the emotions are there, but they're trapped in purgatory as basically prisoner of the Demon King, and none of us can survive in there. Merlin states that clearly. Bond's like, well, I'm immortal. I can go. I'm like, okay, I see you. Once again, Bond been feeling useless for quite a few episodes now. This is where he's going to start to get his redemption and start to feel useful again, right? Here is where he can do something that nobody else can. He's not nearly as strong as some of the Sins anymore. He's not on par with them. He can't do anything to save Elaine or help her. He can't fight on the front lines. He's basically just a meat shield, and now he can actually do something to rectify the situation. Fine dandy. I'm good with that. So Bond ends up going there, and that's basically what we get. The best part of this is that the three brothers meet up once again. We do see Esterosa waking up, and he seems to have a dream about Elizabeth. Very strange. We don't know how that's possible, as Elizabeth, with her memories back, does not remember Esterosa, nor does Esterosa remember Elizabeth. That's very strange. But we do see is that they show up, and Zeldris and Esterosa and them all have a conversation with Meliodas. Meliodas is like, I'm here to take the throne of the Demon King. And they're just like, no. And they go on this whole, sort of idea, Esteros is like, you know what, I have no interest in the Demon King's throne, but I kind of want Elizabeth, so why don't you give Elizabeth to me? And Meliodas is just like, I give you one more chance. I'm going to become the Demon King. Taking the throne, get in line. And they're just like, nope, and Zeldris goes to zoom, flash step, going to strike. Esteros doing the same thing, grabbing a bunch of demon blades. He's like, all right, let's do this again. And Meliodas just like, bam! Just drops Hellblaze 101 on these asses and just crushes them into the ground, into the stone, making snow angels out of bricks. Why the hell not? Let's make an impression, right? A literal stone impression. And just Hellblaze, and he doesn't let up. They start talking, Zeldris is like, what the hell? And Esteros is kind of like, this is Meliodas, this is cool. You're looking pretty strong there. He tries to get up, and Meliodas is just like, and boom, back down to the floor he goes. It's just like, that, what, the anime, for all its faults, it was nice to see that animated. That was such an epic moment in the manga, and it brought a smile to my face when I saw it. And even though the animation could, of course, everything could have been done better. We know that by now, but without beating a dead horse, it wasn't badly done either. It was acceptable to the point that I still went, damn, that's pretty cool. So at this point, Elizabeth has to step in and say, Meliodas, stop, you're going to basically kill them at this point. And so he's like, yeah, fine. And lets up the Hellblaze. Now, this is where they fight for a little bit longer, but nothing really comes of it because they both acknowledge that, Meliodas is back in full form, full power, full form, and they can't touch him. They still try to attack him a little bit while he continues to say, yep, I'm going to do it just to deactivate our curses, break the curses. That's my motivation there. We don't like that motivation. So Zeldris continues to attack while Esterosa tries to get Elizabeth. Meliodas ain't having any of it. When he finally gets a hold of Zeldris, he whispers something in his ear that we are not privy to, and that all of a sudden makes Zeldris go like, yep, fine, alright, I'll go along with it even though I don't like it. Cusack's like, what? Esterosa's like, what? Chandler's like, I don't give a shit. I'm just happy that Meliodas is back. I mean, I'm I'm just fanboying Meliodas this whole chapter, yeah, or episode, yeah. That's Chandler in a nutshell is basically the biggest Meliodas fanboy or fangirl, honestly, in the verse, and it's actually fun. It's pretty fun. So, like every time Meliodas says, "Shut up, Chandler." Oh yes, okay, yes sir, Meliodas, yes. So I always like Chandler, and I like Cusack too. But suffice it to say is that Esteros is thinking to himself he's not going to give up. Now, the plan here is that we get a little bit of backstory about the Demon King. The Demon King split up his power, gave it to his 10 most powerful soldiers. That became the 10 Commandments, that kind of idea. So the only way because Zeldris says, like, you're strong, but you're not Demon King level yet. What are you going to do? Like, are we going to spar with you for 3 days or something? Or, like, for days and days? And Meliodas says, no, like, that's possible. I can keep getting stronger. So this implies that they get stronger over time. That makes sense for a lot of characters in the series. Everybody is more powerful, at the current point in the story than they were at the beginning of the story. Makes sense. Okay. Natural progression. And I'm fine with that, but he says, we're out of time. I only got 3 days till Elizabeth dies. So, I'm going to take the 10 Commandments. And they're like, what? And Esterosa doesn't know about it. Esterosa is basically the viewer for an explanation for us to see what's going on. Meliodas already has one by the looks of it, the one from Grey Road, and Zeldris has 3 of them. He's got Gother's, Droll's, and Gloxinia's commandments, along, of course, with Zeldris' own, and Esterosa still has the commandment of charity or love. So, thing is that there is a spell to get them out of the body, right? And it's implied that they basically have to make them submit, give it up willingly, or kill them to get the commandments. Meliodas needs all 10. He needs the 10 commandments, absorb them, take in the power, and he'll be on par with his father and be able to take his father down, get the power of the Demon King, and save Elizabeth. That's the plan. Not a bad plan. Why didn't he think of it sooner? Don't know. Not a bad plan in theory. Just saying. Not, like, honestly. I'm surprised he hasn't done this sooner. 3,000 goddamn years. 3,000 years, over 100 Elizabeths, and he's just like, fucking done, man. I'm just done. Like, cheers to Meliodas for sticking it out this long and not just, like, trying to blow his own brains out, Which, actually, didn't he attempt? Yeah, because he's got perpetual youth and stuff. He can't die. But, well, when he actually does die, he just comes back to life. So, yeah, I believe it was implied. I don't know if it was said in the anime, but in the manga, it was implied that he did, like, starve himself to death one time, and he did all this stuff, and nothing works. So, he'll always come back to life. So, but what I love about this is that now we have the quest for the commandments. Now we're going to bring back all the characters and all the things, right? This was a pretty good episode for that. And of course we got our favorite guy. We got Zeldris. We got the best boy. Nia D. Hemmings, GOAT, the GOAT Prince, as Nia would say. Go check out his channel. So we got the Prince in full form, and I really like that. And I'm happy with the direction that this story took. It was always really good. At this point in the story, this is where the good shit was going down. So I'm really enjoying this. So now they have to go get the 10 Commandments. He's going to be on par, and he's just like, this is my plan. So the last real scene of this episode, they jump back and forth between the Bond purgatory stuff, but the last scene is basically Elizabeth and Meliodas in the room, and Elizabeth pleading with Meliodas to basically say, don't do this. Don't become the Demon King. This isn't the way to do it. Why don't we just try again next time? You're like, I'll die. Whatever. We'll try again. And, like, you doing this is not what I want. I don't want to forget all these memories. I don't want to forget everything. However, I don't want you to become the Demon King even more. That's worse, right? And Meliodas tries to explain to her that, like, I got nothing else. Like, the only thing driving me right now, I am void of emotion. I do not care about anything. The only thing I care about is my promise that I made to you, and that's what I'm going to fulfill. That's the only thing that's actually motivating me to get out of bed in the morning, sort of idea. Is to keep that promise. Break the curse. This is the way I'm going to go about it. Get in line. It's tough if you don't like it. So, the thing about this is that Elizabeth, and he has I gotta say, Meliodas got got a right handle on those balls of his, you know. I mean, because he has the nerve. He's got the balls to actually tell her, yeah, the only reason you love me is because of the curse. Like all of you, you're cursed to love me. That's not real love. You've never actually really loved me. Sort of. He goes down that road, implying that all this is fake. And Elizabeth starts weeping and crying, and so she starts. I mean, it's done better, I think, in the manga. But I think if the dub does a good job, once again, I don't speak Japanese, so I can't fault the voice actors. They might be doing a fantastic job. But once again, as I only speak English, I might get more emotion out of this scene, because I thought the scene was done quite well. It's just the subs were pretty bad. They kept calling Bond bored and stuff like that. So the translations were quite terrible, the ones that I read. So unfortunately, I didn't get the full impact of the scene. But Elizabeth basically says, well, then why not let me die? Why not just ignore me or forget about me? Let me die and forget about it. Now, the problem with that is that the curse is that Elizabeth is fated to meet and fall in love with Meliodas every single reincarnation. So it's not possible for that to happen, but whatever. I like the sentiment of the scene. Forget the logistics for just 1 minute. And this is a really nice take. This is really nice. Meliodas finally gets rid of his 10 Commandments form just for a moment and comes up and says, basically, because I can't help myself. I have loved you since the day we met, sort of idea. And I love you so much, I can't help myself but to continue to want to take care of you and love you, sort of idea. That was such a tender goddamn moment in the manga. Once again, a little haphazard with the subs, but I feel like if I see this in English, or if I get a better set scene with the proper subs, I'm really going to enjoy this, because it was done really nicely. Just why can't I ignore you? Because I'm that in love with you. I don't have a choice, sort of idea. And that pulls at the heartstrings. That was nice, you know. That's what I'm saying. The last episode was passable. This one was quite a bit better, because there wasn't a whole lot of fights, and when they did do the fights, they weren't badly animated. So I'm going to go on a limb and say this was a pretty good episode, because that was really nice. Now, at the end of the day, he hugs her, and she thinks everything's okay. And then he reverts back to 10 Commandments and just goes, but now I feel nothing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I am so in love with you, and I know I am, but I don't feel that emotion anymore. So all I can do is get rid of the curse, and that's my job now. And Elizabeth is just like gonna slap him, and he's like, fine, hit me, whatever. She's like, oh, I'll hit you. And well, she doesn't say that, but she just looks so sad that she has to do this. Big ass goddess arc. And he's like, wait, what? Boom! Just hyper beam out the window, and Meliodas is laying there, shocked on his face, first time since he's woke up, shocked expression, laying there like, the hell? And Elizabeth is pacing. Elizabeth is already running down through the courtyard. She's going back to the 7 Deadly Sins. She's like, done with this, not being a part of it. Good on you, Elizabeth. Good on you. You go, girl. Anyways, that's the episode, guys. A little bit of a longer review, but I felt like this really deserved, because there are so few well-done moments with decent soundtrack, good animation, good emotion that I haven't been able to enjoy much in this season. So where I really enjoyed this episode, each moment that was supposed to be hype, I felt was hype. The tender moments were tender. I'm good with it, so thought it was a better episode. That's why the review's longer. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the content. Don't forget to hit the bell notification or join the Discord if you guys want to know every single time I drop a video on YouTube. This has been Griever. Drink responsibly as always, and we'll see you back here next time for episode 18. See you guys.